Okay, I thought I'd do a little something different than what I usually do here at Shaw's Garage. Tonight we're talking about mini bikes. And we've got a couple of mini bikes that we have restored or fixed up or brought back from the dead, whatever you want to say. And we use them at the drag strip as pit bikes, which goes real well with Southeast Gassers because everything is desired to be period correct. So we have an old hauler and an old race car, and I just think it's cool to ride around on an old mini bike of that era. And a lot of the guys have them. You see various ones, but this one right here was the first one that we did, and it is a, best I can tell, around a 1971 MTD Trail Flight. It's not original, of course. It's been a complete frame off, disassembled and powder coated and pieces replaced and everything. Well, actually, I picked up pieces of two bikes and used the best pieces on this one. And it would have originally had a Tecumseh 4-horse. Sadie, get out of the way, Sadie. And it would originally had a Tecumseh 4-horse. And I've got a 62 Kohler. It's a cast iron roller bearing. 4 horsepower, really good engines. I wish I had a dozen of them. That engine was given to me by a dear friend of mine who passed away a few years ago, and this was the perfect project for it. I had to do a little modification to get it on there. Had to build an intake, you can barely see it, to get the carburetor tilted back because of the way these motors mount. The Tecumsehs came with an angled intake, which made that a little easier. But anyway, it's a fairly original bike. Most of the parts are original, and it's not like show condition or anything. It needs a bath and a detailing bad, but we throw it on the back of the hauler, got a custom carrier for it, and take it to the drag strip and use it, and have put a lot of hours on it. In fact, we had to put new tires on it this year because we had worn the first set out. So anyway, it's just your basic pull start mini bike. It's a decent size. It is Springer seat with a Springer fork, and it's about the size of a Honda 70, maybe between a 70 and a 50. So it fits an adult really good. It rides great, stable, goes faster than you want it to go, and most of the ones that I do, like this one's, both of these we're getting ready to talk about, have got jack shafts, and I've got them geared down about as slow as I can, because at the drag strip, or if you take them to a car show or something, you're riding around among people, and you want to be able to get the clutch turned fast enough to lock and not heat it up, but you really want to go slow. We're not about speed, and you want to be able to dodge people and stop quickly in case somebody were to run out in front of you, and just try to be real careful. So I've discovered they work better if they're set up geared really low. Now, this is the next one that we did, and it's about a 67 or 68, and I can't remember now the brand name. I'm wanting to say it's one of the, like a Rupp Continental maybe. Not positive on that. If anybody knows for sure, by all means, say something in the comments. A friend of mine picked this frame up a few years ago at a swap meet, and it was fairly complete, just needed restoring, and I ended up talking him out of it. And again, this was a complete disassemble, frame off, whatever you want to call it, and all new bearings and tires and seat upholstery and everything, paint. There's a lot of work in them, really, but this one I actually put a little 2 horsepower Briggs & Stratton on it. I found this engine at a swap meet and got it home, and lo and behold, it was brand new. It had never been started, and so it's just a great, easy starting little motor. And 2 horsepower is about the minimum you can put on one of these, and it still carry an adult. But again, I've got it geared down a lot. You can't really see I've got a cover over the jack shaft, but I've got a series of chains and sprockets that increases the torque. It really helps a little motor on a bike like that, and it's just a perfect little pit bike. The only thing I've noticed about it with a 2-horse is if you go somewhere where you got a lot of hills, steep hills, and you've got to pull a hill from a dead stop, you're asking about all it wants to do. But just reasonably flat ground, it's fine. It's more than enough power. This thing would be great for a small kid to get started on, and it's just a little smaller and lighter than this one. So anyway, and tonight I'm in the middle of another one, and this is one that I've had for, well, it's the leftover frame and parts from the MTD, the red one. And I've had this for a couple of years at least, and I always make the mistake of not throwing away all my old parts, because then you're looking at your parts going, hey, we could build something out of this. So that's what's happening here. I've been piddling with it for off and on for a couple of years, making pieces, and it's of course going to be a much more custom bike just because it's made out of leftover parts. I did different, those handlebars are actually off of another mini bike that, believe it or not, those pieces of handlebars were about the only thing left of that bike that was worth saving. So I welded those to the triple tree, and went with a pan type Springer seat, which I think is going to be really cool. So far the frame sits really comfortable. This frame's going to sit up a little higher than the other one, and I've got a 5-horse Briggs & Stratton with a Mikuni slide carburetor, which is something kind of new for me, so I'm going to give that a try. So just kind of trying to get all this mocked up and ready to take it to sandblast and powder coat, finishing up all the welding, and the frame's been cracked and welded and braced, and ended up having to make most of the front fork stuff because I had stuff missing, and seat mount. Let me get the tank. I found this tank a while back. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Yeah, so there's the tank, and a friend of mine who's a kind of a motorcycle collector, he also collects old tanks, and I'd been looking for a tank for this because it's got the same plastic tank that this one has, which it's okay, but it's just not what I want, and I certainly didn't want it on the second bike. I've got the plastic tank, but I wanted something a little more custom, and he had this tank on the wall and gave it to me, and it's just about perfect for this bike. We may shorten the filler neck. My son keeps telling me we need to shorten the filler neck, but we'll see. But otherwise, I think it's going to be perfect. And then doing the Briggs & Stratton with the Mikuni carburetor, it will actually let me use a external tank like this, because most of the Briggs have a built-in tank. And I'm going to do a torque converter on this one instead of the jack shaft, although that's kind of the same thing. It's just a one-piece unit, and because I was missing so many pieces for this, that was the easiest way to go. But anyway, that's what we're into right now, so I just thought I'd do a quick video of that. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on mini bikes, so I thought I'll throw one out there, and I got a feeling that this third one won't be the last, because they are a lot of fun. They don't take up a lot of room, and we picked up a bunch of Briggs & Stratton, some old race engines the other day, so we've got plenty of things to power some with. So I got a feeling this won't be the last mini bike at Shaw's Garage. But anyway, that's it for tonight, and just wanted to share a little something different tonight. So thanks for watching.